don't know. You can never get a porter at an airport anymore.
Take my bag through the red and the extra brandy.
Coward.
Is this your case, Miss Gray?
That's it.
Right, I'll get you fixed up.
Sally.
I'll go to the queue, miss, and get your taxi.
Why should
Excuse
you get
me,
you a taxi?
may I see that case, please?
Oh, certainly. Which one would you like?
Not yours, madam. Miss, please. Have you read this?
Yes.
Will you open it, please?
Honestly, the poor girl's not feeling well, and now you have to pester her with red tape.
That's funny. The key doesn't fit.
This is your case, isn't it?
Oh, it's not locked. I'm sure I locked it.
Uncut rubies and emeralds.
This isn't my stuff.
May I see your luggage counter form, please? $2466. Jimmy, round up everybody off this flight. You're right, miss. This isn't your case. Somebody must have switched it.
Good evening, and welcome to Whodunnit. For once, in fact the only time this series, we don't have a murder. Now, somebody was trying to smuggle uncut rubies and emeralds through customs. The question is, who done it? And to help you at home solve the crime, we've invited 4 illegal immigrants to cross-examine the suspects. This week, looking lovely in backless dapple blue, Anouska Hempel. And trying hard to look lovely in a frontless white shirt, Mower. And our guests, a pair of loving neighbours, Nina Baden-Semper. And surprise, surprise, Jack Smethurst. And a pretty undeclared lot they look too. Of course, we also have 4 members of our studio audience who will try and solve whodunit. So welcome to you. Now, do remember, the guilty person or persons is allowed to lie. So even if you see their story acted out in a flashback, it could be one long visual fib. Right, back to the action. And we pick it up as Gerald Harvey, the customs officer, is interrogating Sally Gray, who is apparently caught with the loot. Now, I'll give you one genuine clue. Uncut rubies and emeralds will more than likely originate from India.
Would you like to check the contents of your handbag, Miss Gray? And I'm satisfied that this is your case. Obviously, somebody switched them and hoping to use you as a foil to get through customs. I'm sorry we had to put you through the search, but it was necessary.
That's all right. The customs lady was very polite about it.
Good. Now, the porter, Austin, who was looking after your baggage, did you pick him by chance?
No. The air hostess, Valerie, on the plane is his daughter, and she arranged for him to look after me as I wasn't feeling too good.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Jimmy, ring through to Crew Central and ask Miss Valerie Austin to come over here, would you?
Right.
Oh, and ask Mrs. Campbell to come in. Well, thank you, Miss Gray. If you wouldn't mind waiting outside in case I need you again.
I demand to know what this is all about. Isn't freedom sacred in this country anymore?
So far as I know, Mrs. Campbell. And now, please sit down.
Are you intending to have me searched?
That shouldn't be necessary. I'm just trying to establish 1 or 2 facts. Now, you and your husband, Reginald Campbell, were on this flight from Amsterdam?
We'd had a few days' holiday there, yes. Such a beautiful city, you know, at this time.
Yeah, I know, Mrs. Campbell. I have seen it. Now, what I'm interested in is that you appeared to know Miss Sally Gray.
Well, there's nothing suspicious about that. She was sitting across the aisle in the plane, and there was something about her that seemed familiar. Reg. You see that girl over there? Doesn't she remind you of somebody?
No. Can I get on with my reading now?
No, you can't. The hostess just called her by her name, Miss Gray. I'm sure she must be some relation to Penny Walker. She looks just like her.
Penny Walker?
Well, you remember Penny Walker. She married that nice accountant, Jeremy Gray.
Vaguely, years ago. Why?
Well, don't you see? That could be their daughter. I'm going to ask her.
Now, don't be silly.
Oh, get off. Excuse me. I'm awfully sorry to bother you, but are you by any chance some relation to Penny Walker? That is Penny Gray now.
Well, yes, she's my mother. I'm Sally Gray. I'm their eldest.
Oh, my. How extraordinary. I haven't seen your mother in over 15 years. I'm Nora Campbell. Is your mother meeting you off the plane?
No, nobody is. I live in London on my own.
Oh, of course, you're all grown up now. Have you got a cigarette by any chance? I'm afraid I ran out, and that girl's never around when you want.
Of course, have one of mine.
Oh, what a pretty handbag. I saw one just like that last year when my husband and I were in Bombay. I wish I'd bought it now.
I'm afraid they filter.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Listen, Reg and I are getting a taxi into London. We can easily drop you off somewhere.
Oh, really? There's no need.
Oh, I absolutely insist. Your mother would never forgive me if I didn't. Now, tell me all about her. What's she getting up to? So I chatted to her for the rest of the journey and looked after her right up to the time that you so rudely asked her to open her case.
But it wasn't her case, Mrs. Campbell. That's the whole point. I'll see the porter, Austin, now.
Right.
Am I free to go now?
I'll have to ask you to stay for a while, but I promise to let you know when.
Oh, really?
Mr. Austin?
Sit down, Mr. Austin. Now, I understand that your daughter Valerie was a stewardess on this flight.
Yes. Yes, she phoned through to me when she landed and asked me if I'd look out for Miss Gray, who wasn't too well.
Does she normally ask you to look after somebody?
No, but I'd do anything for my Val. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here.
In what way?
Well, about 9 months ago, I was made redundant from Morton's of Slough.
The Industrial Diamonds Company.
Yeah. Yeah, but my Val, she helped me pull a few strings. And I knew a few of the lads at the union here, and I managed to get myself a card, and here I am. I've been here about 6 months now.
Very plausible. Now, just before I stopped Miss Gray, you said that you'd wait in the taxi queue.
Yeah. So she wouldn't get wet. Anything wrong with that?
No, I don't think so. Right, thank you, Mr. Austin. If you'd ask your daughter to come in with you.
Right. Go easy on her. She's only doing a job.
What was all that about?
I was just trying to establish who would have had the opportunity to have switched back the cases after passing through customs.
Welcome back to the Customs and Excise Department of Whodunnit, where we're looking into a case of identity, or to be more precise, an identical case. A mystery which is slightly embarrassing Patrick Mower, as he was caught only last week trying to smuggle Anouska and Nina through customs. Now, if you haven't got it yet, don't panic. There's more revelations to come, and for anybody who joined us a bit late, let me quickly recap the story so far. Now, on arrival from Amsterdam, Sally Gray's case was found to be full of uncut rubies and emeralds. But it wasn't her case. Somebody had switched it with an identical case. Now, among the other passengers were Mr. and Mrs. Campbell, returning from a holiday in Amsterdam, Robin Crouch, who sat at the back of the plane, and, of course, the stewardess, Valerie Austin, whose father, Sam, happens to be a porter at London Airport. The customs officer, Harvey, is now interviewing the stewardess.
May I see your passport, please?
Certainly. Now, how can I help?
I just want to clarify whom you spoke to on the plane when Miss Gray was feeling ill.
Well, it's very simple. She told me she wasn't feeling too well, so I'd gone to fetch an aspirin and some water. Here we are. Take a couple of these and see if they help. Thank you very much. Is anyone meeting you at the airport? No, but don't worry. Well, I was just thinking, my father's a porter at the terminal, and he could at least help you through customs with your luggage.
Oh, I don't want to be in any trouble.
Oh, it's all part of the service. I'll phone him when we land, so don't you worry about a thing. Everything will be taken care of at the airport. I'll see to that. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Somebody's calling. Is everything right?
Oh, yes, thank you, dear.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
Oh, don't call me sir. Robin. And you are?
Valerie Austin. Valerie.
That's better. Well, look, I've been so impressed by the way you've been giving me food and drinks. I was wondering if I could do the same for you sometime.
Well, that's a novel way of putting it.
I've been trying to ask you out since we took off, but you're so busy scurrying up and down. Now, I've worked out that after this flight you must have tomorrow off. So how about buying you lunch somewhere?
Well,
Go on, you're a devil. I can hardly do anything desperately bad in broad daylight.
All right. Tell me where and I'll meet you.
Do you know Stringles, Fulham Road?
Yes, I do.
Good. I'll meet you there at 1.
Okay.
And I'll only wait till 3.
Don't worry. I'll be there. If you excuse me, I'll get back to my work. Soon after that, we started descent into London. And when we landed, I phoned my father, as you know.
Fair enough. And you'd only been to Amsterdam and back?
Yes. Being in the European division, we don't get to the exotic places like Africa or America.
Pity. Still, I see here that you went to India last month.
Yes, I took my father on a 10% staff deal holiday. We both wanted to see the Taj Mahal.
Ill met by moonlight.
Sorry?
Oh, nothing, just the name of a film I once saw. Jimmy, if Mr. Crouch is outside asking to come in, would you?
Right.
And thank you, Miss Austin. You've been most helpful. Oh, just one other thing. You have been through customs yourself, have you?
Yes, on the plane. You can check it if you like.
Just wait outside with the others, please. Mr. Crouch? Now then, Mr. Crouch says you may be able to help us on one point. Did you overhear what Mrs. Campbell said to Miss Gray on the plane?
Who? I'm not an eavesdropper. Besides, I was busy talking myself.
Oh, yes, to Miss Austin. Lunch at Stringles tomorrow, I believe.
You're very observant.
So is Miss Austin. However, that's your business. And talking of business, I see that you're a jeweller.
Yes, I have my own shop in Oxford Street.
Good for you. So that's why you went to Amsterdam and back.
As you're looking at my passport, you'll probably have noticed that I actually went to India. In case you're wondering further, I am half Indian and was visiting my Indian mother in Calcutta.
Very understandable, Mr. Crouch. Jimmy, Mr. Campbell, please.
Okay.
That'll be all for now, Mr. Crouch. Thank you.
Right.
Ah, Mr. Campbell.
Reginald Campbell. You've got the passport, you should know that.
Mr. Campbell, I see here that you're an engraver by profession.
Well, I own an engraving business in Pontefract, if that's what you mean.
You see, it isn't all in the passport. That's why I have to ask the questions. Now, tell me, what do you think of Miss Gray?
Don't ask me, I never said a single word to her.
Yes, that's what your wife told me. And yet you both know Miss Gray's mother. Now, I was just wondering why you were so reluctant to speak to her.
The truth of the matter is, I used to take Penny Walker out.
Take her out?
Yes, take her out. But the wife doesn't know that. You're a nosy lot.
Well, I think that's cleared that up. Now, I understand that you had one case of your own when you came through customs.
And I declared it.
I know. What I was wondering was whether you checked it in with your wife's cases at Amsterdam.
Yes, I remember. There was a long queue and the wife wasn't amused. And she was going on about there being no porters about.
You never get a porter on a foreign airport.
Don't go on, Mower.
Flight 27 for boarding at gate 7 in 5 minutes, Miss Gray. Here's your luggage label, 2466.
Thank you.
Just the one case, is it?
Mm-hmm. No mention of my lucky number 7. Oh, well, never mind.
Enjoy your flight.
That's my case.
One for the gentleman.
And those 4 are mine.
And 4 for the lady. What about that hold-all of yours?
Oh, I'll take this on the plane as hand luggage. Have I got time to go to the duty-free shop?
Oh, yes, flight 274 doesn't board for 5 minutes.
Fine.
Thank you.
What do you mean?
Oh, yes, yes.
And after I'd checked them in, I didn't see them again until we arrived at London Airport.
Part of the airline service. Well, thank you, Mr. Campbell, if you wouldn't mind waiting outside.
Thank you.
Do you want to question Miss Gray again?
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Why did you stop her in the first place?
Oh, just a hunch, Jimmy lad. Part of the training, you'll learn. I just thought this case had something to declare. Question was, who did it belong to? Well, now I know. Trying those old tricks on me.
Yes, but the question is, do you know who is trying to smuggle the gems without declaring them? Oh, to the customs man who noticed something earlier in the show and rang up the studio, the answer is no. I bought this watch in Edinburgh. What a beady-eyed lot, aren't they? Which reminds me, our suspects have now joined us in the studio. Let us welcome them, please. Now then, panel. First of all, is there any part of the action that you'd like to see on instant replay? Nina, what would you like to see again?
Yes, where the luggage is coming through, after it's come through the conveyor belt in London.
Where the luggage comes through on the conveyor belt in the London Customs.
Yes.
Right. Jack, what would you like to see again?
Yes, John. I'd like to see the little bit after Mrs. Campbell was interrogated in the passage, the corridor, when she meets Sam Austin.
Right. And so you shall. Anouska, what would you like?
Yes, I'd like to see the bit where the inspector puts the 2 baggage tickets together on the switched-over bag.
Right. On the teaser.
Yes, please.
Good. Teaser for Anouska. Patrick.
Yes, I'd like to see the bit where our very concerned air hostess asks Miss Gray... no, when she gives her the tablets, when she gives her the tray, because she's so concerned about her health. Please?
Yes. Well, it's a nice, normal thing for an air hostess to do. Why should there be anything suspicious in that? Oh. Still, if that's what you want to see, so you shall, Patrick. Good. While we're finding those, we'll now fire away with questions, always remembering that a smuggler is a very good liar. Nina, can I have a question from you, please?
Yes. I'm back to Sam Austin. What exactly was your job at Morton's of Slough? He's going. Yes. Go. Yes.
Well, I had a special job in the cutting room. I swept the floor.
Well, I don't believe that.
No, sorry, I should have gone on to say that sweeping the floor in that was rather a special job because we had a routine whereby you had to collect it up afterwards. It was all to do with security because sometimes little odd pieces came out and it was all tied up, and sweeping was a very special job because for any little offcuts that might have flown off.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
So very nicely done and explained. Yes. All right?
Yes.
Good. Jack,
I'd like to just pick that point up, actually, John.
Which point would you like to pick up?
The point you made about if you're a liar, you've got to have a very good memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to remind Sam Austin, having worked at Morton's of Slough for quite a while, I think I'm right in saying, and most of the viewers will bear me out in this, that in fact, I recognise you. You've been in Dad's army for the last 7 years. So I mean, I knew.
Well, no, we always have to have a fill-in job.
Thank you very much. Anouska. I stopped you there because you'll never top that. Anouska.
I'd like to ask the inspector of whatever he is at the airport. When he looked in that bag, he very quickly sort of said it was uncut emeralds and rubies. How can you tell if something's uncut, what's inside the rough outside?
I beg your pardon, ma'am?
I couldn't possibly repeat it.
How could I tell they were uncut?
I mean, how could you tell what they were? Yes.
Because I opened the bag and looked inside.
No, the question was quite clearly put, very succinctly put, I think so. She said, how could you tell what they were when they were uncut? How could you tell what was inside them after
though they are uncut and rough, you can still tell the colour of the stones.
Well, have you come across quite a lot of uncut stones like this?
Yes, we are trained to.
Yes. And what do you do with them afterwards when they've been nicked? Can you nick a few out and keep a few and say there were only 6 in the bag?
I consider that a very improper question.
Are you doing me duty?
Quite right. Quite correct, sir. Patrick, a question from you.
Yes, I'd like to ask the air hostess, Valerie Austin. What airline is it actually you fly for?
Jetstream Airways. Flyers wear better.
I will. Can I ask a
Well, flowers
supplementary?
were prettier, yes. Yes? Go ahead.
How easy, when you're actually flying a plane, not you, but the pilot, when you're on a plane, the baggage is stored in...
The hold.
In the hold.
Yes.
Is it possible for anybody on board to get into the hold while the plane is in flight?
Well, it's possible, but it would be rather stupid because the hold isn't actually compressed.
So, in fact, we can assume that the baggage wasn't touched during the flight, can we?
No, not at all.
We can assume it wasn't touched.
There's no way of getting to the hold, really, no.
OK, thank you very much.
That's very interesting. I'm fascinated. May I ask a question? If it isn't compressed, what happens to one's little woof-woof that is in a cage? Or one's tame mouse or something?
Well, obviously you can't take animals on board.
Or a mole, quite, or a mole, yes. Very interesting. Let's go into that again. Yes, another question. Nina, another question for you.
Yes, how did you know the porter, Sally? How did you know him? He just came up and said, you know...
His daughter had described him to me, actually.
But there's so many around, you know, and he just said, you know...
Yeah, well, she said where he'd be waiting, and you know, he'd...
She, of course, may
well,
also...
he wasn't wearing a rose.
He would
or a
come up to me
carnation.
because he knew what I'd be wearing and what I looked like.
His daughter, yes. His daughter had obviously explained. There I must stop you because we're ready for the first VTR. And the first VTR is... Nina's, it's yours. You want to see the beginning of the story when everybody is picking up their luggage in the London Customs, and here it is.
Brandy. Is this your case, Miss Gray?
That's it.
Right, I'll get you fixed up.
Sally.
I'll go to the queue, miss, and get your taxi.
Excuse me, may I see that case, please?
Oh, certainly. Which one would you like?
Not yours, madam. Miss, please.
There, Nina, how does that grab you?
Well, by the short and curlies, I expect.
Yes, I won't say anything about that. Yes, but wasn't it any help and assistance to you?
Yes.
Good.
I think so.
Would you like to ask another question in relation to that?
In relation to the case? Not really, no.
No,
I'll have to
fine,
think about
good.
it.
Yes, think on it. Yes, Patrick.
I'd like to ask Mr. Campbell a question. If you were having an affair with, is it Sally's mum, you must therefore have come across the daughter before, recently. Is that right?
Having an affair with Sally's mum? That's the first I've heard. What do you mean, having an affair with
platonic, it was
Sally's mum?
platonic.
How can you have a platonic affair? Oh,
We went to the Papa Club together.
Oh, come on. I remember at the time I was asking you questions about
wait till we
that.
get on.
You said
Excuse me, 1 minute. May I make one little suggestion here? I wouldn't, if I may say, push that point too far, otherwise you might find out that, in fact, Sally is your husband's daughter.
What a terrible thing to say.
What?
There is a point there. The moral of that incident appears to be, love thy neighbour but don't get caught.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're now ready for the next replay, which is Anouska's. She asked to see when Hardy, the customs officer, compared the label numbers on the luggage. Here it is.
Uncut rubies and emeralds.
This isn't my stuff.
May I see your luggage counterfoil, please? Two, 466. Jimmy, round up everybody off this flight. You're right, miss. This isn't your case. Somebody must have switched it.
Very helpful.
Good.
I've got it.
Splendid.
Imagine, I've got it, yeah.
Well, put your hand over it, otherwise Patrick might see it. All right.
Right, can I ask...
Yes, of course.
Miss Austen's father, has he ever been to India?
Yes.
You have?
Yes,
You
yeah,
really
we went.
have?
I went with Val. Yeah, we went out to see the Taj Mahal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Austen. A question? Yeah, Patrick, a question.
Yes, I was trying to ask before, Mr. Campbell, before they had their little domestic discussion. What I was trying to find out was, if you were having a friendly relationship with Sally's mother, wouldn't it be a bit dangerous to sit so close to her on the plane, because she surely recognised you?
Well, I didn't know Sally because her mother and I split up about 2 months before she was born.
I see.
Ask a silly question.
Right.
Yes.
No more. Say no more.
Right then. Another question, please. Anybody?
Another question? Yes, I'd like to ask, I suspect, incidentally, the customs officer here. And the reason why is this. There's a little poem that I know, I learnt many years ago at school, and it goes like this. They said it couldn't be done, but with a smile he went right to it. He tackled the thing that couldn't be done.
And found he couldn't do it.
Right, I'm ready for the
Anything I
next
can't stand is a black seat driver.
We're ready for the next playback. The next playback is Jack's. You want to see the end of Mrs. Campbell's interview with Harvey when she passes the porter Austin in the passage. Here it is.
I'll see the porter Austin now.
Right.
Am I free to go now?
I'll have to ask you to stay for a while, but I promise to let you know when.
Oh, really?
Mr. Austin?
Sit down, Mr. Austin.
Right, Jack, yes?
Yes, excellent.
Good.
I do like these old movies, don't you, John? Now, I've got a question I'd like to ask Mrs. Campbell. The question is this. Did you know Mr. Austin before that particular moment, then?
No, I'd never seen him before.
Well, I wondered at the look you gave him, you see. There's a lot of it about, you know, dear.
Well, I just wanted to warn him, really, that he was going in for lots of boring questions.
Even though you didn't know him, I see. Which brings me to my next question to Mr. Crouch. Mr. Crouch, talking about a lot of it being about. Tell me this. I noticed when the stewardess came over to see you, you were very gallant and very gentle and very nice and all the rest of it. And you managed to talk her into going out to have a meal with you at a rather super restaurant, I believe. The question I want to ask you is this. How the hell do you do it?
It's just the line of chat, basically.
Yeah, I must learn it sometime.
No, it's the colour of his hair. Look.
Is it, dear?
Dark black.
Yeah.
My question is, when are you taking me out?
I'm seeing her at 1, I can fit you in at 4.
Yes, Patrick?
I'd like to ask Miss Van Schack a question. Can you just jog my memory? Who actually booked in before the Campbells? Can you remember?
Oh, it's very difficult to remember because I'm dealing with so many people in the day.
Yeah. Can you tell me, though, that everybody has a ticket? So if somebody has swapped a ticket over on a baggage, I mean, the ticket must have come from somewhere, mustn't it?
Yes, I presume
I mean,
so.
it must have come from you, in fact. I mean, nobody could have made a duff ticket when they were on the plane.
No, but all I do is I take the ticket out of the book and then give them back their ticket.
So a ticket was swapped over sometime during the...
Thank you very much indeed, Patrick. I'm sorry that I must stop you because we're ready for the last VTR, which is yours, Patrick. You wanted to see when Valerie, the air hostess, gives the aspirins to Sally Gray.
Now, how can I help?
I just want to clarify whom you spoke to on the plane when Miss Gray was feeling ill.
It's very simple. She told me she wasn't feeling too well, so I'd gone to fetch an aspirin and some water. Here we are. Take a couple of these and see if they help.
Thank you very much.
Is anyone meeting you at the airport?
No, but don't worry.
Well, I was just thinking, my father's a porter at the terminal, and he could at least help you through customs with your luggage.
Oh,
Well, there's a happy face. Woof, woof, bloodhound. How are you doing?
I think, yes. We're on to something. That's fine. I like that. I want to ask Mr. Crouch a question, if I may. Mm-hmm. The bit that comes after that, as Jack said about the chatting up business, we don't really know because Miss Austin could have been lying, because if she was the villain, whether she was telling the truth about your chat up. If you're a guy who goes around picking up people on the plane, wouldn't it be rather... Didn't you notice little Sally sitting down, a very pretty girl sitting on her own?
I simply didn't fancy her.
You didn't fancy her? You didn't by any chance know her, so therefore you're ignoring her?
No, I simply hadn't noticed.
Well, I want to ask Robin a question because when he was checking in, he exchanged this little glance with Valerie, who was standing at the side. Why did you do that?
Because it was going to lead up to my chat on the plane.
Yes.
The liking to the lady.
That's how he does it, you see.
That was-
I'll just ask Mr. Blunston a question. When these people come through with their bags, and the bags are loaded onto a conveyor belt, and then they pick them up variously, who sees them from when they leave the plane till when the actual passengers pick them up again?
Well, there's a few attendants on the premises and the airport staff.
But there are staff around watching all the time, so...
Well, there's security staff, yeah.
Yeah. And so the porters are allowed to pick up bags, but if anybody sort of other came along and picked up a bag, you would clock it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Anouska?
I'd like to ask Miss Austin a question. As a member of the crew, does she have to have a baggage check when she goes through? Do you get ordinary checks like everybody else,
Well,
or can
we
you
actually
just
get
walk...
searched on the plane before we leave the plane. When the passengers go off, the customs men come on board, and then we get searched and leave the plane.
I see.
Thank you very much indeed. That'll have to be the last question, I'm afraid, as time's up. So I want you to write down on your cards whodunit and any clues that you may have spotted. One of our audience panel will be winning the whodunit trophy to hang on a wall somewhere, so I'd like you to fill in your cards as well. Meanwhile, I'll see how this lot are getting on. Card, Nina. Anouska. Thank you. All right, Bloodhound, what we got this week? Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. You don't know what I mean by that, do you? Winner or not? Before we find out who done it, let's see if we have a winner from our audience panel. No? Yes. It is, well, it's a sort of yes. A half right and a half wrong. One person right, one wrong. And a no. This is interesting. This person, Jay, has got 5 names down and they're all wrong. And another no. So we just got 1 yes, and that yes is Janice Flint, 25 Vernon Avenue, Enfield, Middlesex. Congratulations, Janice. You win our whodunit trophy, also a piece of string and 2 hooks on the back. Congratulations. I'll give it to you later. Panel. Now, I have your cards, so you can't change your minds. So, Nina, away you go. Who done it and why?
Well, you really want to know what I think?
Yes, I do indeed.
I think Robin Crouch was in collusion with Valerie Austin.
Mm-hmm. And briefly, why?
Well, Robin has just come back from India, and the uncut stuff was from there.
Good.
Valerie came on at Amsterdam, and her father knows about... I don't think her father had anything to do with it. Father knows about jewels, therefore she learned all about jewels there.
That'll do, I think.
That'll do?
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Yes, Jack.
Well, very briefly, John, I'd like to say first who I didn't think did it. And that was Jimmy Blunstone, who, in spite of the fact that he gave his superior Harvey a black look, he certainly didn't do it. Mr. Campbell didn't do it because I saw he was reading a book which I think I detected was the Kama Sutra. That explains why he was sitting in that very funny position. Now to who I think I did it.
Yes.
I think there was collusion between Sam Austin, Valerie Austin, and Mrs. Campbell. The reasons, I think, were, first of all, Sam Austin's former employment, which was as a gravedigger in Berwick-on-Tweed or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I know it was to do with jewels. His daughter obviously could get the stuff in, and that look that Mrs. Campbell gave Sam Austin really worries me.
Thank you very much, Jack Smethurst. Anouska Hempel.
Well, I think it was Mr. Crouch, and very reluctantly I had Miss Austin because I can't see how he could have changed the suitcases over and gotten out. And why I think it was him was because he had a ticket. I think he had ticket 2472 because he checked in after the Campbells, and I do believe the Campbells had about 5 bags. I hope they did anyway. And the ticket number was 2472 on the changed over bag. I bring Miss Austin into it because I think she lied with Mr. Crouch on the aeroplane. I don't believe that conversation quite, so there you have it.
Thank you, Anouska. Righto, Bloodhound, what is it?
Before I just got time to ask Mr. Harvey a question.
Well, we'll see. Are you free, Mr. Harvey?
No.
Well, there's your answer to that one.
Well, in
right,
that
who
case,
done it?
I'll just tell you who did it.
Right.
It, in fact, was Miss Austen plus, I think, the Campbells, because the ticket numbers 2466 to 2472, if you work it out, your maths is wrong, I'm afraid. It is a Campbell's bag. They must have had the bag. She was cleared with the good bag. She swapped over, put the jewels in the other bag. She was cleared with the good bag when she came through the flight thing. What else did I say? But father was going to pick up the taxi to make sure that she kept the bag. What else? Oh, yes, and you had to have access to the bag before and after.
Very, very good indeed, yes. Well done. Right. Thank you, Patrick. Well, somebody could be right. Let's see now. Are you ready? Here comes the big reveal. Will the real whodunit stand up, please? Please be seated. Well, there you are. Bloodhound, you were out.
Never
Knocked
trust
out
a
by the
woman.
ladies. Congratulations, Nina and Anouska. They got it half right, both of them. In fact, all the ladies here today, both in the audience panel and you, got it half right. You both got Mr. Crouch, but you missed that it was another lady entirely. In case there are any who are still confused, I will now show you exactly how this smuggling crime was done and the clues. Now listen, all of you. Robin brought the uncut gems back from India to Amsterdam, where he'd arranged to meet Sally with an identical case. Now, Sally checked in the case, full of her clothes, and got baggage ticket 2466. Now, if you added on 5 pieces of Campbell luggage, the next person in line was Robin, who would be getting ticket number 2472, the guilty case number. Now, Sally's cigarette case had RC, and standing for Robin Crouch, wasn't it? And Robin wore an S around his neck, standing for Sally. So when they reached London, Sally took the gems case through customs. If searched, she'd simply picked up the wrong case. If she got through, well, Robin would pick up the other case, and if searched, could only be accused of wearing ladies' clothing. It was an ingenious little plan, really, but I ought to point out that the customs authorities are well aware of anybody trying this little trick, and several people have already been prosecuted. Now, next week, we join a boardroom meeting just as the chairman, who has a dicky heart, drops dead. The question is, did he die of natural causes? And if so, how come this program is called Whodunnit? Until then, it's thanks to our panel and cast. And remember, if you're thinking of trying to get some extra booze through customs this summer, Gerald Harvey will be waiting for you. And I look forward to seeing you in court. Good night.